The Accidental Entrepreneur is brought to you with the help of our sponsor, AWeber, the world's leading small business email marketing and automation service provider. Since 1998, AWeber has helped more than 1 million small businesses and entrepreneurs through its suite of web-based email marketing, automation tools, and education. AWeber, the best option when it comes to marketing your business. The podcast is also brought to you by the Alternative Board. Since 1989, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has been one of the leading peer advisory and business coaching organizations for independent business owners and CEOs across the world. By facilitating peer advisory boards, private one-on-one coaching, and strategic planning services, TAB helps business owners improve their businesses in ways that change their lives. And be sure to check out our affiliate sponsor, One of One Productions, the New Jersey-based podcast studio that produces and edits both audio and video podcasts. They sell equipment for the avid podcaster and have even created a guesting kit exclusively for our listeners. And be sure to support the podcast by ordering some logo merchandise from our online store. Listen to all of our sponsors' commercials later in this episode and follow their links in the show notes to learn more about their products and services.
It's like the two different concepts. If you give like a brand new piece of technology to an 80-year-old, they'll completely fall apart and crawl. You give it to an 8-year-old, they're excited. They're right. But it's more so just like It's not even a fall apart. It's just that we are not mindful that we have 5 different generations in the workforce, while the older generation, who literally put us in NASA and who literally put us into outer space, they require a manual to get the brain going, because something has to be legitimately thought out. While the younger group, they're more of an art-based group. They have to go through the experience first before they read. It's only when the younger crowd gets stuck or have a problem that they can't solve, then they refer to the book. Well, it's almost like a reverse mindset there.
Yeah. Okay, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I hope everybody's watching us on YouTube or tuning in on their favorite podcast directory. So if you're listening, Apple, Google, Amazon, Spotify, be sure to leave us a 5-star review wherever you can. Some you can, some you can't. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, hit the like button, and I don't know any buttons you can hit. So let's get on. We got Stevenson here who's going to talk to us about STEAM and drones. Interesting show coming up. Let's start the opening credits.
The information provided in these episodes is for entertainment purposes only. It is not a guarantee of success or to be construed as advice of any kind. You should always seek advice from local licensed professionals before making any decisions.
The dictionary defines an entrepreneur as a person who organizes and manages any enterprise, especially a business, usually with considerable initiative and risk. People often start a business without much choice, perhaps due to a job loss or just being dissatisfied at work, and they come up with an idea they just know can be successful. They become entrepreneurs by accident. That is to say, their success or failure happens by accident, not with intention. My name is Mitch Beinhacker. I'm a corporate attorney and a business advisor. You're listening to The Accidental Entrepreneur, my podcast about how to achieve success on purpose, not by accident. Join me along with our monthly guests, where we share our knowledge and help you get a hold of your business. And now on to today's episode.
Hi, my name is Stevenson Demorcy. I am the CEO of STEAMedDrones. We are an educational company that brings drones into the classroom, after school, as well as summer camps to better teach adolescents about science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, and how it all relates to the work field. We look forward to having you visit us at STEAMedDrones.com.
All right, Stevenson. So welcome to the show. I know we had some connection issues. I apologize for that. But this studio, it's a little quirky when you get in, but your headphones are working right, and we can all hear each other.
Mic is good, right? Headphones is good, and Mitch, thank you for having me.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it. And you reached out to me. I forget how we connected, or you got one of my emails or on my email list, right? And you say, hey, I want to come and talk about
Absolutely.
What we're doing with kids,
I have seen a few of your podcasts for the Accidental Entrepreneur, and clearly I got a ton of decibel mostly. It's letting us time to start.
Fire, Good grade on that live video.
I just seen a few of the podcasts you've done with previous entrepreneurs. The last guy was something Weber, who did the email chain. AWeber.
AWeber, right. They do our mailing Yeah, he started that company. It's like MailChimp.
Correct. Touche. And that's also my little brother's name.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I just Weber,
Weber
just
or
a regular
AWeber?
Weber.
Funny if it was
That
AWeber.
right.
That comes from.
Infringement. Not JK.
All
But
right. All right. So then kind of the way I run the platform. I want to talk about your background as an entrepreneur and your where you grew up, so everybody can know where you're from and how you got into different business things, and then kind of let's lead up to what the whole STEAM drones thing is, because I think STEAM is an important part. I think it was STEM, right?
we
And
have
then
the
they added
elements,
arts in.
yes.
Yeah, so STEAM is important in the schools, but also what you're doing with drones really sounds cool, and I think a lot of people would want to know about it. But let's go
Touche.
backwards and start at
Okay,
the
okay. Yes,
beginning.
yes,
Does
it
that make
does.
sense?
So I guess a little bit about me. I was born in Haiti, came to America around the age of 6 as an English language learner. So that is having to play catch up all together. And went through
Yeah.
the whole special ed background and just I was a very motivated kid, but not really given the opportunity to see where my career can go. But when I got to high school,
Okay.
that all changed for me with robotics, US symposiums, you name it. I was part of it so long as I was building something.
Science
All of
Olympiad,
the
you did all that
math, I
stuff?
was more of a math, but yeah,
Where'd you
Jersey
go to school?
City,
Where'd
New
you grow up?
Jersey. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. So I got all kinds of programs there. Yeah, my son did a lot of that stuff.
Right.
It's great stuff. Some of the kids, the stuff they invent and
Exactly.
do is
You're
wild.
imagining yourself at that very young age. You're actually building the stuff professionals are building and working with the tools professionals are,
Yeah.
working with. So it makes a future career very possible for you at that age because you get to see, hey, I can do these skills. And so for me, that's just where the love of everything came from. All the best learning I've ever done was in robotics, was in drones, race cars, whether I'm building them, programming them. And I feel like that's really what propelled me in college, what really just kept me motivated to succeed, knowing that, hey, I will come out at the other side. I know exactly what I will be doing. I know I'll be having a good time doing it.
So in college, what did you study? Like engineering and stuff like
I
that? Computer
did.
science or a little bit of
I
both?
did engineering for 2 years, and it really wasn't fully how I fully imagined it. So I went from engineering into mathematics, and then also got my teaching certification in there as well. So 2 years of engineering, and then said no,
Got it.
thank you,
Okay.
and then went towards pure math, and then education attached.
Right. Nice. Okay. And how long ago was
10
that?
plus
If you don't
10,
mind,
10 years now. 2013 makes
Okay.
it officially 10.
Okay. And then you went into teaching. Is that before you started doing the company
Yep.
you're doing? Because you
Of course.
work with the kids,
When I
right?
first got out of college back in 2012, 2013, I went into a full-time teaching role. My second job was at this first year charter school. I founded their robotics team, first year, all ninth graders. Founded their robotics team, had them won a ton of competition. Clearly got the school a bunch of extra publicity to grow, restructured their mathematics curriculum, objectives, etc. So yeah, it was,
Nice.
that was
Is that in
in
Jersey City?
Trenton, New Jersey. Yeah, I went to school in Ewing, and Trenton was right next
Nice.
door.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Ewing's right down there. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Okay. And
Right
and
now,
where are
I'm
you
still
now?
in Jersey. Well, I'm back in Jersey City. So yeah, yes.
You're in Jersey City right now. You work in Jersey
No,
City?
I
You
work
go
in
to
the
school?
Bronx now,
Is that the
so they pay higher in New York, sir.
right? I'm sure. You live in Jersey City and commute to the Bronx.
Yes. Well,
Got it. Okay. So I think it's really important to talk about, all the stuff that's going on with education and what you're doing with STEAM drones, because, I always say this, like we like teach our kids like it's still 1945 and the world has changed, and science and technology and how we do it and what we do, it's all different than, forget about the fact that the pandemic pushed us ahead, I don't know, 15 years in the course of a year and a half. But even before then, it's just that we live in a different world. We do different things. So where did the idea, first of all, were you involved with the STEAM program in the Bronx where you are now before you started this drone?
I started the drones company about 5 years ago, but we officially launched in 2020. Got a few contracts. No, 2022 was the rough year. We launched, got some success in LAUSD, Los Angeles Unified School District, and then clearly everything shut down shortly after that, and then had to go through a relaunch last year, which was awesome because we got to brand in Trenton, New Jersey, as well as Iowa and a few school districts. So that went well.
So your customers are the school system. So literally during the pandemic,
Gone,
your customers were
gone, gone. No one's interacting. No one's touching each other. No one's trying to communicate. So
Right.
it made me a better entrepreneur, though. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, resilience, I think, is the word that
touche.
comes out of the pandemic now. People really had a lot of problems. The ones that weren't resilient, the ones that weren't creative, the ones that weren't, persistent, they just folded, or they realized that their business wasn't really doing what they thought it was doing. They're just kind of cash flow covering up a business that wasn't really making any money, So it's hard. So, okay. So 5 years ago you started, but it really took a while to formulate the whole thing. Did you have a business plan, or did you go out? How did you get started?
The title of accidental entrepreneur is exactly myself.
Well, what did you do? You had a concept.
I did not have a concept. I was, at the time I had just started working in Jersey City. I was literally launching STEM programs for every company but my own. So you name the big boys, I have worked in some capacity with them, just launching programs. Right. Sometimes I would just end up having to fix their program, tweak their programs. And something said, hey, you need to go out. Yes, STEM programs.
Right. We said off the mic that it's now STEAM.
Right. You realize the difference between, everyone's always making fun of Androids, right? But Android and the Apple are pretty much the same product, with the Apple being more towards the art end of things. So it gives it a little bit more of a luxury feel. It literally, art is the voice we use to communicate. So it has to be in there. But not to,
got it. But
for a time, it is still STEM, but for a time, it is just strictly STEM. Us not acknowledging the role that art plays. But it's important, especially when you're working with young people, to bring art into things, because it keeps them focused. It keeps them interested.
There's no question about it. We have two sides of our brain, right? You can't just ignore the creative side of it. And then even on the left side, you still need the creativity. I mean, that's how you develop ideas and stuff like that. So you were basically deploying these things in the Trenton school system, because that's where you work.
Trenton as well, Jersey City, yes.
Building STEM programs. Yeah, Jersey City.
Both, because at the time I left Trenton, I went directly into Jersey City, and I was doing the same launching programs for everyone.
Got it. So you were still doing both. Yeah. Okay. Well, somebody's got to do it, right? I mean, most of the teachers in other subjects, they just can't take these things over. They don't have a background.
And that was the issue at the beginning. A lot of programs tried to come into the education system, even when we go back 70 years to Napoleon Hill outwitting the devil, when they tried to do this. Bringing technology into the education system is not very friendly, because then those people have to become professionals. So it's a matter of, how do you train these educators? How do you make it painless? And that's where a lot of companies fell short. And I did pride myself on making sure that an art person who has never touched technology can do this. A minor who's at the age of 8 can touch this without, having previous knowledge. So that was really big for me.
Did you find that the teachers were afraid of technology? There used to be a little.
Right.
Yeah, right? I saw that during the pandemic. I mean, you would get on Zoom, and
it was a mess, right? Everyone's panicking is because the fear outweighs the simplicity.
Right, exactly. They're used to doing it a certain way with a book. You open up the book and you go to class. And we didn't even have, I think, in high school. So I graduated high school like 85. I think my first computer, I must have had an Atari 400 or something. But my first real computer was a Mac at college. Okay. Yeah, Macintosh. It had a little disk drive. It had like 128K was the memory in the computer. And I think I wrote a 5-page crashed. I had to get like one of the computer science kids to crack it open. You couldn't open computers in those days and burn in some new chips, or because you couldn't just snap them in. It was just a different world. But I think that's one of the problems, I think, or the obstacles of moving the education system forward. It's going to take a lot of you to outbalance them, because I guess younger teachers are afraid of technology, right? But it's a while to change.
It's like the two different concepts. If you give like a brand new piece of technology to an 80-year-old, they'll completely fall apart and crawl. You give it to an 8-year-old, they're excited. They're right. But it's more so just like it's not even a fall apart. It's just that we are not mindful that we have 5 different generations in the workforce, while the older generation, who literally put us in NASA and who literally put us into outer space, they require a manual to get the brain going because something has to be legitimately thought out. While the younger group, they're more
Right.
of an art-based group. They have to go through the experience first before they read. It's only when the younger crowd gets stuck or have a problem that they can't solve, then they refer to the book. Well, it's almost like a
Right.
reverse mindset
Yeah.
there. Right.
They have a problem.
That's the way it works,
it
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm talking to a client of mine who's got a building with, some tenants and older tenants, and they're looking to move, and he's trying to help them get on Section 8 housing because they need subsidy. They've been there so long that the current rent, they can't even afford it. And they're renovating this building's a mess. So he said, I'm having trouble because they don't know how to use a computer. They don't use computers. I said, well, you got to go to the Section 8 housing office to get the paperwork, get them a phone number, can make them an appointment, bring them the paperwork, and they'll do it the manual way. Oh, yeah. I never thought about that.
Right.
That's a good idea. Because people are like elderly. They're not going to, get on a computer. It's just not what you're used to. And it's just different. But I find it interesting because I think that in order for this stuff to work, in order for us to move forward as a nation, as a society, it's going to take a while. Definitely the pandemic helped. It's a silver lining to everything. But I think that, it's going to take a while to get people comfortable with
technology.
It's like we have toilets now inside the building and somebody still wants to use the outhouse. And you're like, listen, you can't use the outhouse. It's not safe. You're not using it anymore, and they resist. But you say, well, this is where we're going. Like, we're going forward and we're going to take you along with us, which is kind of what
Yes, you sounded very Henry Ford there. If you asked them, what they would want, they would say faster horses. But we don't see horses around nowadays.
Right. Exactly. Well, unfortunately, it was a bigot and an anti-Semite. Somebody the other day, all these quotes, and then the person goes, "Oh, well, I'm not voting him anymore." I'm like, "Oh, well, he did a lot for the country." But yeah. So, all right. So when you're putting these programs in, what did you you couldn't run them all, obviously, in the different schools. So you had to put them in so it can be run by someone else, or you were running around all the different schools
So
in
I
Jersey City?
was lucky enough to have a cohort of teachers that I can just, transfer my knowledge onto, and they literally just went and did extremely amazing things. Very high success rates in terms of student engagement. You had students coming to school on Saturdays. You had students staying after school to sometimes 6, 7, 8 at night, depending, your age group. So yes, one, I ran some of my own programs. Two, it was just the educators that I was able to transfer the knowledge onto, who then took it and make it a whole level of success on their own. And that was pretty much how we just kept the vehicle moving. Yeah.
Yeah. So where did the entrepreneurial part come from? Like, let's also start a company while I'm fixing all the educators.
You know how you're starting to become burned out because you're doing everything for everyone else. And then for me, I got to see the charter school that I did so much work for flourish, and I don't get a percentage back off of that. I don't even get a full growth on that.
Right.
I got to see all these administrators hitting their target goals, target everything. I got to see all these companies making big banks. And, meanwhile, I'm literally just facilitating for someone else to be successful. So that made me very, what's the word that I'm looking for here? I don't want to use extremely sad. It just made me very numb for a while. And something more had to be there. And so I just kept asking myself, something more. What else is there? What else is there? And then I remember there was this thing called the Ecolite, along with Rutgers University Tech Launch Ecolite. So I did it was exactly an incubator, first year incubator program. So I did that, flushed out some of.
So you're not the accidental entrepreneur. You went to an incubator. That's more than.
No, but I went to it without a game plan. Just like, I would do. Yeah.
You had no idea. Well, a lot of people do that. They go into these programs. That's what they call an incubator. They don't have an idea. Right. They're like, I want to be, and you got to explore it. Yeah, that's what it's about. Okay, so you had no idea. The drones, the whole thing was not even.
Right. I just went.
You just went.
So I just started putting things together, started creating things, blueprints. I can't even tell you how many blueprints I had that are just all in the garbage can because they just, it's the process.
It's the process.
But then from there, I would leave work, and every day I would take a train over to New York. Back in the day before COVID, New York used to do startup talks. So new founders would just come, and Google specifically headquarters was really big in terms of, bringing founders to come talk to you about the tech they're working with or the software that they're building. And I just went to a bunch of those, just listen to everyone's story, the good, the bad.
That's what you do. You go and you learn from people that have done. I used to go to a group at Stevens
I went
up in
there too.
Hoboken, and they had
I went to a few of
one of
those.
those.
Yeah.
And they stopped. Yeah, and they would have 2 or 3. They'd have a couple of pitches, right? I remember, and then they'd have somebody come in and talk who's successful or whatever. And I mean, I was there as a lawyer to network and stuff, but I thought it was that's what you do. You go out and you do things. If somebody's listening out there, heed your advice and listen to what you did. You said, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do more than I'm doing now. So you signed up for the incubator and you went to these events and you started meeting people and find out what people are doing, get advice from them. That's how you accelerate your chances of success. Can't guarantee anything, right? But you definitely accelerate. Yeah. You can make your own mistakes on your own. You don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
You want to find out the mistakes they make, most of them if you can, because you still make mistakes, right? You just want to make little ones, not really big ones, but that's good. So we were kind of probably in the same circles, going to the same events. So take me through about the whole incubation process as to bing.
Right, because so we did a bunch of activities, creating a lean business.
Do you remember some of the blueprint things that ended up in the garbage?
Oh my God, I had a 3-way competition. We were going to build a race car, we were going to build a drone, and then a boat, and have like a tri-Olympics types of situation. There was another one in which I was going to do strictly race cars, just building and
full car.
Yes. But, I felt like 1080 was doing a better job than me. So I just, that wasn't it for me. Plus, where did drones come in? There was a drone program that came in through Jersey City, New Jersey Drone Academy. They were like the first in America, period. The training was very good on a technical level, but terrible everywhere else that no one could.
They were for adults.
It should have stayed for adults, but it was for kids. Right. But we're not really realizing, high schoolers, middle schoolers, they don't really have motor skills when it comes to soldering or, just right. And that's a very big thing that has changed within the American market. We don't build anymore. We don't even build 40% of the world chips no more. So, right.
I know.
We have turned into.
Most of these kids don't know what a soldering iron is, we don't even have radio. I remember growing up, we would make little things at Radio Shack. You would go get parts and build things.
It doesn't exist anymore. They don't. And so that company was still using the model that made, the Wright brothers and et cetera successful, but they weren't looking at where our society is currently in terms of where a consumer user friendly, we use things, we don't build them. And so we have to actually, we have to really, really work much like the Wright brothers and use reverse engineering to get there. But needless to say, the program was not very successful. Everyone failed with the exception of myself. That's it. Let's just be. So it was like myself, and I was able to.
So you were talking about the incubator?
The Jersey City drone program. The incubator, I believe everyone was some level of successful there. It was pretty good. Everyone got there.
So we're talking about the Drone Academy, where you took a course or went there, and then you took all the information left.
Facts. So exactly what it is. You go to a trader, you get trained, you go, you're supposed to apply it. Everyone fails. You're able to be successful. But it's because I had all this prior knowledge to tie. I had all this prior knowledge to tie everything back together.
But what were they doing? They were training people to use drones commercially, for photography, or for whatever.
They didn't even get that far, sir. It was just literally just building the drone and learning how to fly it. That's as far as they got. Right. Which
that was it. They didn't.
Right.
Application was.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Which is you would 1 + 1 = 2, and you just said it. They were teaching you to fly cameras and survey, right? Right.
Exactly. At the time, though, did you need a pilot's license or FAA approval to run those things?
It was just hey, make sure you let the FAA know where you're flying. Don't fly next to an airport. But there wasn't all the big rules that are currently here. Started around which hurricane happened before 2020 around the New York, New Jersey area, in which NJIT, it's not Katrina. There was this period of, it might have been, I'm going to say around the period of 2019 where regulations really started. And
that was, That was just before
Touche.
pandemic.
It was right. So needless to say, all the laws that are there now weren't really fully at least being enforced back then. So we had a lot of wiggle room so long as we don't fly outside. We, clearly we just avoid the FAA together. And that's another right.
Inside, right.
But that's another missed opportunity of the program of not taking the drones outside and getting the FAA clearance and
Yeah, listen to this. I have a client of mine. She's a friend of mine. She lives in a high-rise building, and every couple of days there's a drone that like rises up. She's like on the 30th floor or something like that, and there's a drone. Like it must be looking in all the windows or whatever, because a lot of people don't have. They're so high up they don't have shades. They have it on their bedroom, not on their living room. So she called the police like, "What? Can I shoot this thing down?" They're like, "No, you can't do that because it's illegal. It's like shooting down a plane." But apparently, there's no like peeping Tom laws or anything that applies to technology. Yeah, so this guy's probably looking in all the people's windows and stuff, flying this drone up there, and they can't catch him because they don't know who it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's got to.
So that's not the worst of it. So we're going to talk about the negative aspects of drones first, and then we'll talk about all the benefits of why this is such a big push for me.
Okay, good. How about we do this? Let's take. I got a 2-minute commercial I got to take, and then we'll come back and talk about stuff. Okay. All right, let's do it. Here's a word from our sponsors. Looking to market and grow your business? Or perhaps you're just getting started and want to hit the ground running? Aweber is the best choice for online email marketing and automation of your business. From maintaining a subscriber list to drip campaigns and landing pages, Aweber gives you tools and integrations that make marketing easy and fun. As our partner and sponsor, we use all their tools to promote the podcast and market our law firm. Aweber, the best alternative for online marketing. For over 30 years, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has built a thriving community of forward-thinking CEOs and business owners who want to radically improve their companies. Through unique combinations of one-on-one business coaching, participation in monthly TAB board meetings with other non-competing owners, a suite of strategic tools, and customized strategic planning workshops, TAB membership can deliver greater strength to your business and a better work-life balance for you and your family. All packaged in a streamlined and affordable service that the people at TAB invite you to try risk-free. Maybe you're looking to get into podcasting, or you just want to market your business. Maybe you want to do it for enjoyment, or because you have a message you want to get out there. One of One Productions is a New Jersey-based studio just over the George Washington Bridge that caters to the booming business of podcasting. They offer a comfortable atmosphere using the latest technology available to record your podcast. And they are a full-service media company offering both audio and video production services, creating both audio and video podcasts as well as video shorts for business and personal use. Professional audio equipment packages are available through their website for all budgets, and be sure to check out their podcast guesting kit, created especially for our listeners. Follow the link in the show notes to learn more about all of our sponsors. And now back to our show. Oh, I had us on mute there. Okay. Nice. He's a nice guy, right? He's got a nice voice.
Sounds familiar.
I get sick of listening to it. I listen to it on all the episodes. So you were getting into the whole drone thing, and
no,
I stopped.
You're fine. The peeping Tom aspect is one of it. And clearly we mentioned that we don't build things anymore. So most of our drones is from China. So which means that any second, programming can be sent to the drone and have it do whatever it pleases to do. So those are very much so the scary real factors, not to mention a drone going haywire and crashing into a train, a car, a plane.
Yeah.
There are a lot of negative aspects.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. You wonder about China if they're really using the drones to steal information when they're trying to send balloons over the United States. Like, who's used balloons anymore? It's not 180 days around the world or whatever what that movie was. I thought that was pretty hysterical. But they had something. It was almost like a drone attached to a balloon, right? It was some big vehicle that had a lot of cameras.
Yes, balloons were the first.
Yes, Central Communist Database
Absolutely.
in China, probably. All of our information. Yeah. Okay. So, but we do know that, like the guy who's looking in the windows on the 30th floor, what happens if his drone dies? Drops, right? And there must be accidents.
Of course. A lot of things are able to happen, which is why, flying over people is a big no-no for the FAA. There's a lot of There's a lot of protections that we try to put in, well, that they're trying to put in place that we in general or society are trying to be mindful for in releasing this product or promoting this product or using it. But I feel like, much like cars, who, you can clearly run into someone's house, which happens. You could run a person over, which happens. Drunk driving happens. There's a lot of negative aspects to a lot of things. But when you look at the aspects of, hey, I can have a drone defibrillator if my kid is out there playing soccer and he's having an attack. It's way easier to send a drone than for the ambulance to get there. We're at war, whether you need a health package, whatever you need.
And a drone, I guess, I mean, you're a technology guy, but I guess you could have it if it has the coordinates of where you are, it can almost go directly there, right? If there's a 911 call, the 911 operator puts in your location, GPS, right? The drone knows where to go, boom,
Absolutely.
flies over there. Be there in 10
Absolutely. Right.
a goose or something.
You're looking at even firefighter drones, which is something that's also being developed.
Where they carry water and stuff
right.
That, chemicals.
Because clearly we would rather send the drone inside the building than to risk a life. Or just, even if you're just using the drone to see who's on the 5th floor, 10th floor. So you don't have to go up all of those.
Firefighters are going to have to be technology guys now. They're going to be operating the drones.
Cool.
And not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's a different skill, right? You got to retool the. So we got to retrain society.
Even you're thinking about a cop who's responding to some homicide or an extreme situation. The amount of intel that you're getting that they're able to get with a drone prior to them showing up is really, really important. So hey, say we have an active shooter in a building. What rooms do I need to focus in?
Right.
So there's a lot of benefits that are coming with this. We just have to get the ball rolling a little faster.
So when did you must have gotten to some point where you say, okay, I want to do some sort of a STEAM program, but did you pick drones because, well, they're machines that the kids can work on that are smaller, and you can't put a car obviously in the classroom. It'd be a little hard.
Right. So it was me doing my research and realizing that I don't want to say automation, just working with vehicles altogether was for me very saturated. Yeah, everybody's doing it. We're not. Yeah. We're progressing. The next is electric cars and everything. I'm completely on.
Yeah. Right. Then you'll be able to work on them. You plug in the battery.
Exactly. Right. But I realized, the Wright brothers got us airplane, American. Katherine Johnson got us into orbit, American. We did awesome things in terms of just getting us into the air, which is open, which is free. As I'm looking now, there's no cars flying. There's no airplanes flying. The air is free. We can totally avoid New York traffic, Jersey City traffic, just by utilizing the air. And for some reason, our society has completely sort of abandoned higher, I don't want to say abandoned because NASA's doing awesome things with the Mars rover. But it's almost like, we're not in the 60s anymore when everyone is getting up to watch the rockets launch. We're just not doing those things anymore.
Because we're so globally inundated with information that we're all interested in. It's on TikTok and you're watching this and you're watching that. There's no we don't gather around the TV anymore, or the radio as a family, or even as an individual. Everybody was listening to the same thing. Now they're not. There's so much information and so much distractions.
Absolutely. And I don't want to take away from that. Enjoy it, because I enjoy those things as well. But for me, in creating this program, it was a best way to combine both the 60s and the 2020s here all together. So clearly you get your drone, you get to build aspect of it, you get to learn aspect of it, whether you're learning about gravity, whatever you're learning about, whether you're learning the programming aspect, etc. But on the other end, you also get to take pictures, you get to take videos, you get to create content, you get to see how content is created. And all of that goes into land surveying, all of that goes to first responders. All of it relays within the same set of skills.
So is it designed? I mean, I understand you're working through school districts, right? You're bringing the program to public schools. Is it also going to be designed like a standalone academy where, after school programs where the kids could come and learn, or what's your plan?
So for me, I would much rather just completely work with the education system. Of course, starting your own camp or starting your own facility is, for some people, I guess, it's a land.
Well, you certainly want kids going through the public
Right.
schools because you can install
Right.
programs around
So
the country.
it's exposure for me.
How did you get to LA?
Right.
I mean, you're here.
Or about Illinois. But yes,
one in Illinois.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Had that happen.
clearly COVID forced us to accelerate and understand how how to connect differently.
Yeah.
So for me, that's been a blessing. I can literally do my trainings on whatever online platform, whether it's Zoom, whether it's, this Riverside, that, the accidental entrepreneur is hosted on. But you can literally use your online feature to literally get anyone whatever they're missing in a heartbeat of a second, which is way quicker than me driving down or flying down to meet you and show you. So it's about affecting as many incoming adolescents as possible.
Right. So tell me, well, we'll get into the business aspects, the financial model, but what's the program? The kids come in, they build drones. Are they learning how to operate them? Does the school have to buy drones? How does the whole program
We
work?
come in, we have workbooks. So our workbooks come in English and Spanish. Looks a little bit like this. So you go through a series of lessons that teaches you literally everything about the drones, how to, just set up your buildings, set up your rescue missions, how to fly and go through race courses. The race course is the second part of our program. And clearly the drone itself that the schools are purchasing, that is its own learning resources. The coding aspect of that, the gyroscope, interscope of that. So different ways to fly, all three.
So the school has to invest in a
Of course,
series
yes.
of drones.
Yes.
Right. And buy the
Of
materials.
course. You can't do anything without materials or without the will to.
Yeah, we'll hard. And that's part of it.
Absolutely.
You gotta sell it to them. So did you have to go to LA to train these people?
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
So I was in LA at the beginning of 2020 for a little bit. I got to meet a ton of great mentors that I still have. Two out of three of my mentors are from LA. Going around speaking to people who are in charge of these youth and their programs, seeing what their interest level is, and getting them a clear focus to understand why this is important. Once they're able to see the kids interact with the little mini drone, and then seeing them wanting to be engaged with the mathematics, which is also clearly highly attached, whether you're plotting, drawing, which all leads to surveying. But just one, the funness of the drone, and two, how we're using the drone to calculate, to learn, to do language arts, write essays, create landing pages, create print materials, all of that tied into, hey, this is working for us and this is keeping engagement.
Yeah. So I guess you wrote the business plan when you were in the incubator, right? Figuring out how to do the business plan. Do you have employees now?
Yes.
that are with you?
Yes. The team got finalized last year, and that was a 3-year hurdle.
But you still have your public school job, right? You didn't give that
I
up
had
yet, did you?
given up my public school job for about a year just to fully go through and knock out all my kinks. But clearly after a year, you kind of need money to fund your entrepreneur goals. It's either that or a loan. So yes, I kept working to clearly fund everything that I'm doing. So whenever you order a workbook, the money has to come from, with the education system, the money has to come from me first. And then, everything goes in a little circle. So you do have to have capital. So for me, yes, it is extremely tiring to work a full-time job and then go work another full-time job.
Part of getting ahead is, right? So did you work through all the financials when you were at the incubator in terms of, I mean, obviously you always have to change them, right? But in terms of working out, where the material is going to come from, how much it's going to cost, what can I charge, how do I reach these people,
and actually
all
have
that
to make a profit. Yes. So that was part of it.
Yeah. Nobody wants to do it for free,
right. Right.
Forget that part.
Very easily. Yeah. Like, oh my God, you're so passionate. You should do this for free.
Yeah. They're like, oh, they don't account for their own labor. And they're like, we're not making any money.
But it's definitely important, which is why it was important for us to build the curriculum, because that's the foundation.
Yeah. You have to write
Right,
most of it yourself, right?
and just making sure it comes from an educational standpoint and not just random things. At the end of this, you still want to be able to say, "Hey, I use this to bring my kids' test scores up," and that is very important to us as well. In addition to getting the real life experience.
When you have a business in the educational sector like this, are there avenues for like submitting the program for consideration in different districts? Like, do they have
Yes.
an RFP, STEM programs or STEAM things?
Anything above 25 grand, I have to fill out an RFP for, which is normally about 200 pages of reading. Just the application aspect, and then having to wait to hear back. So that's part of it. Sometimes you get lucky, and someone has like a good 15 grand hanging around, and they want to do something special for their kids. And this is definitely that. Other time, you just have someone who's coming in and very interested.
Is it usually the science teachers, the science
Usually
departments?
science, yes. Usually math. Science and math are my peoples. Yeah. Yes.
So you want to reach. Yeah. So what's the objective of the business from a growth standpoint? Like, what are you going to do? Well, quit your job eventually.
I would like to follow the same model as US First Robotics, which is with the exception of there has to be some form of US First Robotics meets Starbucks in terms of having everything in-house. So for me, my long-term objective would be building American-made drones. That's part of it. Learning to utilize having a workforce aspect of the program. I feel like that would really, in a 5 to 10 year trajectory, keep a 10x mindset here. And it's in a 10 year for me.
So you want to eventually manufacture U.S. drones that you can sell to kids or just for
hobbying, just in general, learning to fly and etc. Right. We don't have that currently. We also do not have any program in terms that I know of from the U.S. school systems in which you can do the program and then go find a job in that field, or they guide you towards finding the job. So for me, that would be the next two best things.
Yeah, I don't think even universities have any kind of computer science, degrees. Maybe you can go work for a drone company if you're a programmer or whatever. But there's no major. I mean, maybe do fine art programs have anything regarding photography or aerial photography or something like that?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. It's just a matter of, are you getting people hired? And of course, we all have a career department in the schools, but a direct program that all encompasses that we currently do not have.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great what you're doing with the kids. So far, obviously, the feedback's been pretty good, and the kids are excited. They think drones are cool anyway, right?
Huge selling point.
Yeah, so that's great. So right now you're in Illinois, you're in LA.
Yes,
are you in Jersey?
Trenton, New Jersey right now. Right,
got it.
3 locations.
So 3 locations. Got any others in the burner?
Yes, right now I'm working on Jersey City. So that's the next big one for me. Yeah.
Now, this is a business question, right? Have you worked out the metrics of, okay, if I get 7 school districts, I need to add now 4 more people or whatever it is? Do you know exactly what those benchmarks are in terms of the growth?
Touché. So it's looking like for every district, 2 employees are being added for that. One to mentor and get through the drone tweaks, the other to advocate and go around and make sure everyone's okay. So those are the two big roles that we have going on right now for every district that we bring on.
Got it. So you hire people, they're on your payroll in their district, or you help them hire the people?
They come from me. The district bring on their teachers. They bring on their coaches, their teachers, and etc. And I come in with my own team, Rafa and Jordan Bianca right now. We go in, we do the development, we handle operations, we handle relationships. But that's just for the current contracts we have going on. For the future contracts, we clearly would like more people from the community. So let me give you an example. With our Trenton contract, it was very important for me to get a graduate from the schools that we are in currently to come back and pretty much use their advocacy voice, not only to talk about STEAMedDrones, but also to talk about, hey, what does college look like and how did STEAM help me get there or STEM help me get there?
Oh, good. Yeah, right. Because it got him interested in science and technology and mathematics and
And
all
it
that,
kept you going.
engineering, right? The
Yes,
whole
it
thing.
kept you going.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, so you have to put people on the ground then for at least a period of time, and like in LA to get the program off the ground. In Illinois, same thing.
Absolutely.
People living there.
We get people on the ground.
Yeah. So you hire them
Of course,
out there.
we have to.
You don't hire them here and say, "Oh, get on a plane now. You're going."
It's totally
to LA.
easier to have someone who's right next door to you who's able to just come whenever you need them. So, yeah.
Right. Exactly. Technology people. All right, that's cool. All right, so if people want to learn more about the program, either for their school district or because parents sometimes advocate and bring this stuff to their school district, how can they learn about STEAMedDrones, the program, and interact with you? We'll put this in the show notes too.
No, to say you guys can totally just visit our website, STEAM, STEAMED, Drones, DRONES.com. There's a phone number there. Call us, email us, but one more, you said STEAMEDDRONES.com.
Right, STEAMedDrones, not drones.
There's an S in there, yes, plural. We're hoping to do big things.
All right, very well. Awesome. Well, Stevenson, I appreciate you reaching out to me to get on the show. I thank you for your time and sharing, and keep doing the good work for the kids. I got one out of college, one in college, one in high school, and my oldest one's a science and math kid. He's now an informatics major working at tech companies. So it's the way of the future. So I can't.
Mitch, you're absolutely awesome, and the accidental entrepreneur is literally most of our lives. So we thank you for this.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Accidental Entrepreneur. Opening and closing music written and performed by Howie Moskovich and made to order music. For information about Howie and his music services, please follow the link in our show notes. If you like the podcast, please tell others about us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and most of the other podcast directories. If you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review and feel free to share our episodes on social media. If you have any questions or comments, ideas for the show, or you'd even like to appear as a guest, reach out to us by email at info@beinhackerlaw.com.
The Accidental Entrepreneur is hosted by Mitch Beinhacker and produced by Beinhacker Law. If you'd like to learn more about our business and legal services, you can find us on social media or visit our website at beinhackerlaw.com. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe to our feed to be notified of all future episodes.